I'm willing to bet that most of you watching this either own a Ruger 1022, know somebody who owns a Ruger 1022, or have at least shot one at one point. It's an incredibly common and popular firearm. Or maybe you own one of the Ruger Mark Series 22 pistols, Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4 now, or even like a variant in the 2245. Or maybe you own one of the Ruger precision rifles. That rifle absolutely shattered the long-range shooting market. If you're into long-range, you owe that rifle a lot of thanks because it made it incredibly easy and far more affordable for the average guy to go out and bang steel at 1,000 yards. But whatever Ruger firearm you own, you should know that the man that built Sturm Ruger Co. was an absolutely incredible human being. He overcame some serious hurdles in his life, from a very tough upbringing, sickness, lots of rejection, many failures, and the very unfortunate death of a very good business partner. So join us today while we discuss Bill Ruger and how he rose above all that to build the company that we all know and love today. I'm not going to lie. This was by far one of my favorite episodes to research and write about. Bill Ruger was an incredible guy. I had to cut so much out of this episode. It's going to be a long one. I don't ever plan on doing an episode this long ever again. It was pretty tough to get through. It was just a drag for sure for a long time. So bear with me on that. But you're going to learn a lot about Bill Ruger today, and you're going to learn some new things a lot of people don't know. Like, did you know that he almost got into the car business? Yeah, it was almost Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, and Ruger. Did you know that the revolver business was started with a jewelry company? Yeah, that was a weird interaction for both of those companies to come together, but they made it work. It wasn't easy, but they were able to basically launch one of the most legendary Ruger firearms ever, and it really helped kind of springboard the company. It's a pretty interesting story. And how about if you see a red Ruger logo on one of the old standard Ruger 22 pistols? Do you know exactly why that red logo is so special? A lot of people think they do. But the correct answer is in this episode. So you'll learn that, and you'll learn some bonus content, like if one of your Ruger firearms accidentally ends up in the washing machine, it'll be just fine. So far more on that in the episode later. But thanks for joining us today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to us here on the Rifle Media Podcast. We're very, very happy to have you. All right, what's up, everybody? I'm your host, Owen Walski, here at the Rifle Media Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about Bill Ruger and the incredible company that he built and the incredible things he did along the way. I am not by myself tonight. I am joined by my two co-hosts. First up is Sam Sinclair. How you doing, Sammy?
Doing well.
Doing good? That's good. Yeah, we'll toast.
It's tough to get there.
How was the drive up? Not bad?
Not bad.
Let's go. Next up is Matthew Barker. What's up, Barkus?
Not much.
Trip sucked for you?
Yeah, once I got to Michigan, it sucked.
Did you leave right from work?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't tell. Yeah, you come to Michigan relatively often? Or your sister lives in Toledo? Right?
Yeah, around Toledo.
Okay,
so.
cool. So at least you know half the trip.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. So does it feel weird yet to be on a podcast with cameras and everything?
Not as weird as
Not
it ought to
quite
be.
yet?
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
not really sure what to do with this thing.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
We'll get
You
there
can move it if
eventually.
you... It's a learning curve. All right, so opening questions for you guys both. Do either of you own Ruger firearms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Barker, what do you own?
A Ruger Standard 22, a Ruger Mark II, Ruger Red Label, Ruger Blackhawk.
Oh, my God.
I think that's it.
Oh, my God, that's more than me. Okay. Now, Sam, I know you own a couple Rugers. One of them in particular, I think, has a pretty good story. How many do you own?
3.
3. Okay. Which one made it through the washing machine, Sam?
That would be the 1911.
Survived.
It did. It survived, and it was much cleaner.
Yeah, easy way to clean your gun in the washing machine. Yeah. Actually, don't do that. Please don't do that. I regret saying that already.
It worked.
Yeah. Was it loaded?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And the bullet still fired afterwards.
Dude, that's the crappiest version of Russian roulette I've ever heard of in my life. You're just sleeping in your house begging that the one button on your pants doesn't pull that trigger and knock the safety off. Okay, cool.
The safety was still on when it came out.
And it has that grip safety, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's right. John Moses Browning. He
Yeah.
was the man. Cool. All right, so we're talking about Ruger today. What, you guys know anything about Bill Ruger at all? What do you know? I figured you would.
Oh, I mean, well, do you want me to say it? Because we're going to cover it here.
Go for it, dude.
Well, he started off with the drill, and then a couple years later, he found an investor and made the Ruger pistol. There's some stories behind that. Then from there, all I know is towards the end, the symbol was red, but after he died, it turned black.
Who died?
Bill Ruger.
Wrong.
Or some Ruger.
Yeah, okay, so I'll get to that. So the close, actually, that's pretty damn good. Sammy, do you know anything?
I know the rifle can kill prairie dogs.
And the 1911s don't go off in the washer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Maytag ain't got shit on Ruger. Yeah, there you go. All right, cool. So, yeah, Barker probably hit some high points, and honestly, Bill Ruger would be happy that you're using his guns to kill small animals. But anyway, so his name's William, actually goes by Bill. Bill William Batterman Ruger, born June 21st, 1960, Brooklyn, New York. His parents were Adolf Ruger, May Batterman.
Hold on.
Go for it.
His dad was Adolf.
Correct.
And
He came from Germany.
he was born in 1960. His Bill was.
Yeah.
That means his dad was probably like 35 or 40.
His dad came over to the United States in 1840.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know how old his dad was.
Well,
His dad's not a stellar dude. We'll find out here soon.
I'm just saying he wasn't born. He wasn't named after Adolf.
Sure.
The Adolf. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got it. I do. Yeah, dad from Germany, Adolf, came over in the 1940s. Mother was already in America, was a local New York person. Her family owned a chain of department stores. They were pretty well off. He also, Bill Ruger had a grandfather that fought in the Civil War.
Oh, that's cool.
Believe it or not, yeah, and that was on his mom's side.
Did his dad have the mustache?
No,
No? Okay. I'm just wondering if that was an Adolf thing.
no,
or
no. Yeah, all Adolfs from Germany have that mustache. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Couldn't find any pictures. But his Bill's upbringing was really chaotic. His father, like I said, not a good guy, became a heavy drinker to the point that it affected his business and eventually the family. When the economy began to stumble at the beginning of the Great Depression, his father eventually lost the business and his marriage to Ruger's mom. And his mother then moved back in with his parents who lived in Brooklyn. So let this be a lesson that alcohol is very dangerous, kids. All right, so to complicate things further, Ruger had several health problems. When he was in grade school, his mother was afraid he would end up with tuberculosis, which was a big deal back then. She pulled him from the school, sent him to live on an actual working farm in northeastern New York, and this is where Ruger fell in love with the outdoors, and it also happened to be the medicine that he needed. He put on much-needed weight. His cough ended up fading. He ended up getting better. But while he was living on this farm, this is when he had his first encounter with a high-powered rifle. Ruger was out exploring the hills when he heard a gun go off. He ventured over to where he heard the noise and saw two men standing in a field. One was shooting, and one was standing down by the target, spotting for this guy. Ruger, yeah.
I mean, I want to say, I want to say we've done this before.
Yeah, well.
That sounds kind of normal in our group.
In our group, yes.
Yeah. I remember doing this, actually.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Like for your dad or something?
For you. We were sitting in an AK for a class, and you were running like 9 hours late, like always.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll stand down there under the hill.
That's right.
And you went, and then I run up. And then
I forgot about this.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, yeah.
It was safe enough.
So can we just take a second that the first inkling that this kid had when he heard a gunshot was to go see what it came from?
To run towards it? Yeah.
True.
Yeah, Bill Ruger was a special kind of guy, for sure. Yeah, I forgot about that. I've heard stories of people like, yeah, dad would put a target on the hay bale and I'd stand next to it while he'd shoot. I love my dad. I would never do that. No way.
But you've also seen your dad shoot.
Yes, you've seen me shoot, and he is my dad. So I can love my dad to death, not standing next to you or next to your target while you shoot. Just not a thing. So anyways, that's what safety was back in the day. But that experience for Ruger eventually, he was hooked, right? So he returned to school, immediately joined the shooting team, and that's where he learned to shoot, got very good at it. Remember when school had cool clubs, like shooting clubs?
No.
Yeah, mine didn't have it. Did yours have like a shooting club?
Nope.
We had Glee Club.
I don't think we had Glee Club at West Branch.
West Branch. Enough said.
Exactly.
Yeah, I went to a city school. We had Glee Club.
We had pictures of the old wrestling room being a shooting range, but
Oh, really? That's
yeah,
cool.
it was just pictures.
Yeah. So anyways, this is where things start to get interesting for Ruger. So he had a friend by the name of William Lett. There's lots of Bills in this story. William actually went by Bill, so we're just going to say Lett. Lett was a gun nut already, and Ruger somehow talked Lett into ordering a surplus 30-40 Craig rifle from an ad run in the back of Popular Mechanics magazine. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. When the rifle arrived, Ruger and Lett were so excited they considered firing it in Lett's basement.
That sounds familiar.
None of us have done that.
No.
Ruger thought this would be a bad idea. So they thought this was somehow a better idea. They decided to hide the rifle in a bag, take a local train to the end of the line. Once they found a patch of trees, built a fire, set up a target, and began shooting well within city limits. To quote Ruger, "We were well within city limits, but we did have an excellent backstop." Okay, Bill, whatever, man.
Safety first.
Yeah.
Did he get caught?
No, he was good.
Exactly.
I mean, could you imagine doing that in New York today?
Can you imagine shooting in Akron today?
I mean, it pretty much is New York.
Yeah, true. Yeah, ordering guns from Popular Mechanics, that doesn't happen anymore.
No. Is Popular Mechanics still around?
Yeah, still around. I saw an article they did recently on like nuclear batteries for phones. It's pretty cool.
So the Popular Mechanic is like doing phone things now.
They're doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, they're doing all science stuff.
Nothing even close to guns. Nothing even close. So anyways, after this experience shooting this 30-40 Craig, Ruger was absolutely hooked. He started reading any book he could on firearms at the New York Public Library. This led to Ruger making drawings of his own firearm designs and eventually purchasing deactivated machine guns. Yeah, to study how they operated. Ruger even talked his good buddy Lett into spending more of his own money on a National Rifle Association memberships, the NRA all the way back then. That way, Ruger could get his hands on a subscription to the American Rifleman, still a magazine today. Ruger would write letters to different gun writers in the magazine on a regular basis, so much so that Ruger feared they would start ignoring him and begin writing letters under Bill Lett's name, because I'm pretty sure Bill is a sucker. You know how there's a friend in every group, and I can't pick it out in this group, that you can convince to spend money on anything. Who's our person in this group? I kind of think it's you, Sammy. I'm just saying, dude. Just saying. Anyways, yeah, he sounds like a sucker.
That is kind of normally how it went.
Yeah.
I was saying, you're the only guy I know that actually had a cigar subscription.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about those. You had to burn all those, didn't you?
They kind of just dried out over time.
Okay.
So I wasn't keeping them in the humidor like they were supposed to be.
I mean, you would have had to have smoked a cigar every 3 hours to catch up.
I remember at a party, you literally had Pelican cases you were dumping on the table saying, "Take them."
Yeah, when Ken Stent came over for that cake party, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
I had a lot.
I remember several. I know we blew up one humidor. What'd you do with the other ones?
Oh, it blew up in a private, closed course.
In a controlled environment.
Yes.
Never mind. Maybe we don't want to say that on here.
What is your definition of controlled?
Yeah, good point.
Sam. Just nod and go,
All right. Anyways. So he was making his own designs, and he soon learned that what he lacked to pursue his dream in designing guns was the formal mathematical background that comes with an engineering degree, like me and Barker have.
I've got one too.
You're construction. What are you, civil?
Civil.
So bridges.
Okay.
So he's designing.
That makes it better.
As long as it doesn't move, I'm good.
All right, cool. So yeah, during that summer, Ruger enrolled as a student in the University of North Carolina at the age of 20. This was September of 1936. So before he went to college, he actually had a job on Wall Street. He wanted to be the Wolf of Wall Street, straight up. He had a job for some exclusive stockbroking firm. I couldn't figure out what a runner did, but when he worked as a runner, someone told him that UNC was a damn good school. So he ended up picking UNC. So when he was at UNC, Ruger somehow convinced the university to allow him to set up a machine shop in an unused part of the chemistry building. I'm not making this up.
That's cool.
It was there that he began working on his gun designs. It was on that campus, in that machine shop, that Ruger eventually managed to build a working belt-fed machine gun.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, yes, you heard right. Old Bill Ruger convinced the university to let him set up a machine shop so he could build machine guns. Although the machine gun didn't perform as Ruger would have liked, he decided to patent it anyways. That was the first patent of many more to come. Could you imagine? We had to do senior design projects, right?
I heard a rumor about senior design.
Yeah?
That some kid designed his own suppressor. Now, I thought that was a bunch of bullshit, frankly.
I mean, this was at our university?
Yeah. They're like, yeah, he went through all the paperwork and got. I'm like,
Oh, I heard that too, actually.
yeah, and I'm like, there's no way.
No way. What professor's going to be like, yeah, that's cool? Like, could you imagine us going and be like, hey, we're going to make a machine
Yeah,
gun?
except
Okay, think about that university. You had 2 professors on that university that probably would have said, okay, I'll sponsor that. And none of them were mechanical engineering professors.
None of them, no.
That's true.
It would have been the guy in the machine shop. Your
Yes.
buddy? It would have been
Steve.
him. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll take
Okay.
care of that, but
no, he wouldn't sign off on it.
probably not.
No one would have. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
They'd all be
Well,
too scared of the
I got him.
consequences.
I'll tell you something later. I don't know if I told you this before or not.
We'll save it.
Yeah.
Either way, like we were born in the wrong. Like, could you imagine that
gotta cut
happening
some
today?
Of this out, right?
I can cut some of it, but this is all. I'm keeping all this. This is good. Yeah, I don't know. Could you imagine designing a machine gun today in college? How that would go?
Oh, you'd be
Yeah, you'd be on like national
you'd be arrested. Yeah.
for sure, easily. So, anyways, some things from this. So, you guys have a picture, a pamphlet of pictures there in front of you.
Yep.
And I'll be posting these on the screen for people who are watching. So you can see that top left picture there is that's the original machine gun he designed, and you can see the front sight, a close up on the right. That's a close up of the front sight. That trickles down. That's the same front sight you can still get on the Ruger Standard 22s.
What's this belt fed chambered in?
I could not find out.
No.
You know what else is cool? The belt feed magazine is rotary. He used that design for the 44 carbine 1022.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so all that stuff kind of trickles down from this original machine gun built in a abandoned part of a chemistry building. You
cool.
can see, yeah. So anyways, Ruger graduated college, started working for a small machine shop that specialized in firearms. While working there, Ruger had his own project on the side. He was converting a Savage Model 99 into lever action, it was a Savage Model 9 lever action. He was converting it to semi-auto. He was happy with how it turned out. He set up a meeting at Savage's headquarters in New York, showed him the design, and turns out Savage didn't care. They actually brushed him off, and Ruger was pissed and also skeptical they were trying to steal his design. What a bunch of savages. Anyways, they said they had no use for it, yada, yada, yada. So Bill wasn't doing very well financially at this point. So keep the Savage Model 99 in the back of your heads. So working for a small shop really wasn't cutting it. He was about to be a father, decided it was best to move back in with his wife's parents, but on the way, he stopped at the Army Ordnance Office in Washington. That's where he showed his design, the semi-automatic Savage Model 99, to one of the officers there and received a very melancholy response. They didn't care. They were like, cool, whatever, we're not interested, get out of here. But they took note of the work that he did, and they ended up sending him a job offer through the mail. He received a telegram from the War Department asking if he would like a job designing machine guns for Springfield Armory, but not the Springfield Armory that we know.
No, I've been there.
Yeah, okay, that one.
So wait, there's 2 Springfield Armories?
Yeah, there's Springfield Armory, like the government War Department that was Springfield Armory before the company Springfield Armory.
Yep, legit. You can still go there and visit.
Yeah, it's cool. Before it was a government organization.
Okay.
Yep.
And then at some point it split off to the Springfield that I could go by the day.
Correct. I think they bought the name or
I
whatever.
think so.
Anyways, this job that he paid, the job that he got was paying $32.50 a week, which is the equivalent of 81 cents an hour in today's money. Yeah, wasn't a rich dude. So there was Bill had officially started his career as a firearms designer. So do you know what else that Springfield Armory place is pretty famous for? It was a gun that everyone loved from World War II.
1911.
M1 Grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is where Bill starts to get even more wild. He didn't work for Springfield Armory long. The Army was looking for a new light machine gun, so instead of sticking around at Springfield Armory and building this machine gun for 81 cents an hour, he decided to quit. He said he didn't want to end up like John Garand. John Garand made the M1 Grand. Ruger thought John Garand was treated like a zoo animal. Yeah, and wasn't paid enough. Ruger said, I could do much better than that, and decided to compete against Springfield Armory, the people that gave him his start, for the LMG contract. Where do you think he started working on this light machine gun?
Where?
No shop, no nothing. Where do you think he started
Back in
doing this?
college.
Nope. His in-laws' house in the living room. Yeah. Yeah, could you imagine? Like, that's my Uncle Bill. He's in there building machine guns.
No, not uncle-in-law. So that's our son-in-law. He's going to be something one day. I swear, he's telling us he's going to pay all the money back.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not even a garage. Like, all great companies started a garage. This one started a living room.
Yeah. No, there's fine china and machine guns in that living room or dining room, whatever.
In the state of New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is back before
New York became New York.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So Bill actually managed to get a working prototype together pretty quickly. He went back to the government and tried to get them on board to buy his design, and they were like, piss off. They're like, come back and do this for us or get the hell out of here. So yeah, Ruger didn't care. So Ruger and the Honey Badger have a lot in common. He doesn't give a shit about anything. And this is a perfect example. He didn't care. He actually left and went to Smith & Wesson and was like, hey, you guys interested in this machine gun? And they were impressed but didn't want anything to do with the machine gun itself. They rejected his design but offered him a job paying $75 a week, so double what he was making in Springfield.
So we're up to like $1.60 an hour.
Pretty much something like that. So again, not one to give up easily. He then went to High Standard. High Standard also rejected him, but encouraged him, said, hey, go speak with Auto Ordnance. Auto Ordnance at the time had a ton of money from government contracts for the Thompson submachine guns. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as luck would have it, they were super interested in the LMG. So they made him an amazing deal. They hired him, settled on $100 a week, and then royalties from the sales of the LMG. Yeah, or light machine gun, sorry. If LMG stands for light machine gun, for those who don't know. In exchange, Auto Ordnance would get Ruger's patent rights. So there's a lesson in perseverance. Like, the guy never gave up. He went to different companies.
Did his LMG get selected?
So that's a long so I'm going to tell that story. It's pretty screwed up. We stay away from politics here on this podcast, but this is some typical government idiocy right here. Also, could you imagine if he ended up at Smith & Wesson? What do you think a GP100, like, if a GP100 had sex with a 686, what do you think it would look like?
I don't know. You can't get better than a 686.
It would look like a Korth revolver.
It's $8,000.
Probably not, but I don't know. I wondered how things would have turned out if he worked for, Smith & Wesson instead of his own self.
Well, in essence...
we haven't gotten to that point yet. He still works for Auto Ordnance in my mind right now.
Well, no, but in essence, he would just be like Dan Wesson. He'll be
an
offshoot.
Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate, come to think of it.
But
I always forget about them.
But you have to think, in a corporation like that, you probably wouldn't have ended up like Dan Wesson. You probably would have ended up in the mold, following along the track that they followed.
Yeah.
And you might have been able to make an improvement here or an improvement there, but you weren't going to be...
Yeah.
You didn't have the power that Dan did.
Good point. I don't know. I'm glad it worked out the way it is, but I'll get to that whole situation later. He gets back at Smith & Wesson pretty good. So anyways, Ruger got hired by Auto Ordnance. This was 1940, by the way. He began to fine-tune his design for the machine gun to compete for the U.S. Army light machine gun contract. He worked very hard, 12, 14 hours a day, to make sure he had a working prototype ready to take to the Aberdeen Proving Grounds. So the first test that they had, Ruger's machine gun did well. His design was unique, praised for being cleverly simple. He was told his rate of fire was too fast. Keep that in mind. They told him it was too fast. They feared it would wear out too quickly. Luckily for Ruger, they weren't happy with the performance of any of the guns in the LMG testing that year, so they postponed the decision to the next year. Ruger worked even harder this time, changed a lot of things, especially with the attack of Port Harbor. He was super motivated to make sure things were done right. Unfortunately, the changes to his design negatively affected the reliability, and the gun had 23 malfunctions within the first 500 rounds. The Army just didn't see a point in continuing with that many failures out of the gate. So again, Ruger had to go home. Luckily, again, not happy with any of the other performance. So he had another year to try and figure this out. This time, Ruger pushed the absolute limits of things. He did a serious overhaul of his design, even going as far to give it 2 different options for full auto fire. That's right, it was selective select fire. So you could, with a flip of a switch, go from 250 rounds per minute to 550 rounds per minute to a single shot with just a flip of a switch. I don't even know how that would work, but that's pretty cool.
It's like the BAR.
Does the BAR do that?
Some of them were semi and full.
Okay.
Some of them were slow full and fast full.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Anyways, he had both in one machine gun. But anyways, so he makes all these changes. The year is now 1943. Ruger arrives at the Aberdeen test site ready to win that U.S. Army contract. The gun did very well, but in typical disorganized and ineffective government fashion, Ruger's machine gun was disqualified. Can you guess why? What would be the stupidest thing they could do after 3 years of testing?
No, it's something. They changed the weight of requirements or something like that. Or the quick barrel change wasn't quick enough or something along the lines of that.
So you do know something about this because the quick barrel change was a big deal. They really liked that.
Oh, I'm just guessing.
Remember I said it fired too fast?
Yeah.
They told him
it fired too slow.
Told him it fired too slow. They told him it fired too slow. And so Ruger left Aberdeen for the final time very disappointed.
Is there pictures of this gun?
No, not this one.
Okay.
It actually doesn't. That gun doesn't look that handsome, and it's not that different from that machine gun there. Yeah, it's very similar.
Okay.
But anyways, he worked at Auto Ordnance up till 1945 when he quit again. He quit another big time job. But this is where he builds his empire. So now we're up to the good part. So, like I said, he decided to leave Auto Ordnance. What does Auto Ordnance make today?
They make Tommy guns, 1911s, some 22s, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought. They're not really popular.
I only know them as the 1911.
And I don't think they make great stuff.
I've held a couple Thompson guns. I have never been impressed.
I've held some. I held a 1928 Thompson gun.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Anyways, Ruger decided to leave them, even though they didn't end up too big today, and start his own business. He wanted to work for himself, but a lot of people don't know this, Ruger actually started his business twice. The first one was called the Ruger Corporation, and it didn't make guns. It actually made parts for Auto Ordnance. Yeah, he quit and tried to sell them stuff, and they bought it.
That's the hustle.
Yeah, that is the hustle, man. So this business was profitable until Ruger received some poor advice to go into the tool-making business. Although Ruger made some high-quality tools, they ended up being too expensive for the market, eventually sinking the business. Now, although the tool business was a failure, some of the tools had a little foreshadowing into the future, most notably the hand drill. You guys have the pictures there in front of you. If you look, the grip on the hand drill is the same design he used for the Ruger Mark I Standard 22.
Can I just say, nothing against Bill Ruger, but this hand drill looks like it'd be a motherfucker to use. Okay, and I feel like there's a reason why no one else designed a hand drill like this.
Yeah, like look at how close the crank is to the end of the
knuckles gone.
Yeah, exactly. If you're drilling into a wall, like, just not good. But despite all that, the drills are worth a ton of money.
I know they are.
Yeah,
just like all other rare pieces of shit. Okay? Does anyone use them? No. Just like a fucking Yugo in America. No one uses it, but it's rare.
It's still cool, yeah. And what do I say? Every shit I take is unique. I think I tell people that sometimes. And they're like, it's unique. Every shit I take is unique. Yeah, no, but if you see one of these floating around a farm or an auction site or something, hang on to it. It's worth some money, big time.
How much money are we talking?
I saw a couple numbers, like $800.
For that?
Yeah, for that.
Damn.
This was a while ago. I looked it up on
You
eBay.
can get something that he made that goes bang for cheap right now.
Straight up.
Yeah,
or you could get like 6 awesome DeWalt drills for that or something. Like,
or like one Milwaukee battery.
Yeah. Milwaukee stuff is expensive, but worth the money in my opinion. So, just as Ruger had done in the past, he was down, but he was not out. He knew he had the knowledge, skill, and ability to run a business, drawing on design cues from the Colt Woodsman and the unique German Luger. Ruger had a design for a cheap, reliable, and easy-to-make 22 pistol that he knew would be a success. All he needed was a partner, someone who shared his ideas and trusted his abilities. Shortly after the Ruger Corporation folded, Ruger met the Alexander Sturm. Yeah, so this is where the name Sturm and Ruger Co. comes from. Sturm was an incredibly interesting individual. He came from a wealthy family and graduated from Yale, where he majored in art. I believe this guy was connected with a presidential family. I don't remember which one. For some reason, I want to say Kennedy's, but that doesn't.
I was about to say Kennedy's.
It might have been. He was a published author, artist, actor, amateur filmmaker, and a huge firearms enthusiast. Oh, and he was also an OSS officer in World War II and worked with an ex-Hitler associate to predict Hitler's next move. That one threw me for a loop. I'm like, this dude's a thespian. He's an actor, but he was also CIA before being CIA was cool.
Yeah.
Nuts. That last one definitely threw me for a loop. So anyways, he met Ruger at a meeting for entrepreneurs and business-minded people. Sturm and Ruger got along very well. Sturm really liked the .22 standard pistol that Ruger had designed. It resembled the German Luger, and Sturm thought, hey, this is right after World War II. This is going to be a popular look. People are going to like it. So Sturm was in, but Ruger told Sturm he wanted to run the business. He knew that it was Sturm's money, but drawing on his experience and failures, he wanted to run this new business in a new way. No borrowing of money, no loans, nothing like that. He wanted to be able to walk away from this business if it failed without any debt at any time. I can't account for the last 10 years of Ruger, but they're one of the few publicly traded firearms companies, and their balance sheet is incredible. I believe this is still a big thing that Ruger does where they don't take loans. Now, I can't talk for modern, but I can speak to the entire time Bill Ruger ran that business, they didn't borrow a dime. In fact, he threatened to fire people if they had to borrow money to do their job.
I know one other company that does that.
Who?
The place I work.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. Well, we're not going to give them.
No,
Let's not do that. Anyways, so Sturm they started it with $50,000 back then. That's about $750,000 in today's money.
That is, I guess that's enough to start up.
Medium-sized amount of money. So Ruger's plan of not borrowing money was also unique. He was told he couldn't do it by many experienced, quotation marks, people. President of High Standard said he couldn't do it. Colt said he couldn't do it. And Mossberg said that he couldn't do it. But a lot of those companies are licking Ruger's boots today, man.
Yeah.
I would say Mossberg is the one that actually still sticks around. High Standard and Colt, no way. Nowhere near Ruger.
No. High Standard's not even around anymore, are they?
I've seen a High Standard.
Or they're like an offshoot of what they were.
I've seen a High Standard AR-15 somewhere. It exists for sure. Yeah, so they told him that he couldn't do it, and this is where. So again, Ruger didn't care what they said. This is where Ruger again kind of sinks into that person who just did not care what people thought. He had his own beliefs and things that he wanted to do. So Sturm, this business partner, was a big collector of things: guns, canes, swords, and something called heraldry. Do you guys know what heraldry is? You know what heraldry is.
Yeah.
What is heraldry?
It's like knights and shit and coats of arms and shit.
Close. Sammy, what's heraldry?
Clueless.
Okay. Honestly, same here, and I did research on it. I cannot really figure out what it is. From what I gathered, it's a medieval style of symbol, so close.
Well, yeah, it's your coat of arms, meaning. Well, the only reason I know is there's a whole James Bond movie about it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I still don't understand it. I heard coat of arms, but
I know like my family name like has a coat of arms and it has a kilt pattern.
Yes. So
what?
So I could be completely wrong, but
no, like each family name like had a pattern,
and the symbols meant something,
and a symbol that.
A lion for bravery, a gold ball for witches.
I know mine's got a Usto involved in it. I don't know what that means.
Oh my god! Okay, you can't softball jokes in there just like that, man. Come on, come on. We gotta not get a strike from YouTube on this. Do not softball roosters in my family medieval symbols. Okay. Anyways, you dead on. It says it depicts dragons, serpents, or intimidating animals, even unicorns.
Hey,
I mean, horses are scary.
Whatever floats your boat, I guess.
If you put a horn...
Are you going to tell someone no? I want a unicorn on my coat of arms. Okay, it's yours.
Good point.
Go ahead, be stupid. Just let everyone know you are.
Yeah, exactly. Tell everyone you're the unicorn guy. Anyways, it's what you might think of on, like you said, a shield or a flag from medieval times. One night while Sturm and Ruger were discussing business plans, Ruger brought up the idea of having a trademark. It was shortly after that Sturm, with his artistic abilities, drawing on his taste for heraldry, designed the Red Eagle that is now instantly recognized as the Sturm and Ruger Co. trademark. So it's an eagle, not a dragon.
I always thought it was a griffin.
I thought it was a dragon. Until I wrote this, I thought it was a dragon.
I knew it wasn't a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I just hoped it wasn't a dragon because I'm like, they're not stupid.
Eagles have tongues that like come up like that.
Yeah,
birds do.
Birds have tongues,
but like a lot of birds' tongues.
It's a cartoon, Sam. Like it's a fucking cartoon. Okay.
That kind of.
I don't think they were going for
realistic.
They went and caught a fucking eagle and they're like, open your mouth, eagle.
This guy's got to draw your tongue. Hold still. Yeah, I don't know about. I don't know. Anyways, it's supposed to be part German. It's supposed to be 50% German, 50% Japanese. I think that's 110% crazy. Like, German and Japanese?
And
That
I think
bumps,
that's the
right?
bottom beak.
Okay.
Well,
It might be, actually.
I understand the
Dragon.
German side with his family, but where does the Japanese come involved in this?
No idea. And this is after World War II. You'd think they'd want to leave them hardcore out of
Well, I
that.
guess those two together would make sense coming after World War II. Like, might as well just keep those two together.
Straight up Axis powers right there. Yeah, good point. I didn't think about that. But anyways, yeah, it's an eagle. For those of you who don't know, that is an eagle, not a dragon, not a griffin.
A griffin be fucking badass.
Yeah, it would, for sure. So anyways, that is what has now become instantly recognized as the Sturm Ruger Co. trademark. So now they're starting this business. Starting a business that sold 22 pistols on $50,000 back then, no easy task. Both Ruger and Sturm worked very hard at the beginning. They had no administrative staff, only 2 tool makers. The Korean War made getting steel very, very different, but very, very difficult. But some early advertising and some good press around Ruger's design had led to a significant number of pre-orders for pistols. So he was able to go to the people who sold steel and be able to guarantee them income. And
What was a pre-order for one of these pistols? Do we have a dollar figure on that?
$37.50. That's it. I don't know what that is in today's money, but probably like $5,000. Who knows?
Well, you just throw that out there. Like, you could just go to the store with $37.50. Like,
Yeah.
and be like, I want a case of beer and a pistol.
And a new gun.
Here's $50.
I've got some other numbers on guns through here. There's actually something that's cheaper. One of the guns in this story is cheaper to buy today than it was back then, if you can believe it. Anyways, so yeah, $37.50 is what it cost. They advertised, got a lot of support for it. They were able to justify that to get metal. The pre-orders turned out to be critical. The same day that Ruger spent the last few dollars of the original $50,000 was the first day that Sturm Ruger Co. shipped their first 100 handguns to their pre-order customers. So the day that they ran out of money, they made money. So that very same day, they deposited 100 money orders for $37.50 and were able to make $3,750. They were finally in the gun business, baby. Remember ordering guns in the mail? Remember doing that?
I think you can still.
Not like you could back then.
No.
Actually, that's a good point. You can still order guns online, but
No, I think you.
Well, it still would have to go through an FFL.
No, if you have
for
your,
sure.
if you have your CNR license,
CNR.
Curio and Relic.
Oh yeah,
Which, there's even AR-15s that are now CNR eligible.
that old.
Yeah,
Wow.
So what is the definition of a CNR? Like,
an old gun.
but like, what's the age? Like, because old cars, I think, are like 25 years.
Oh, it's more than
historic
plates. 50 or no, it's more than 50.
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I like modern guns.
It's like 50 and older or something.
Like, because you got some really nice old shotguns that would qualify.
No, a lot of guns do qualify now. We're getting up to the Model 12s are now CNR. Some 870s are CNR, I believe. ARs are now CNR, some of
So
them.
is this something like we can just go get, or is it like going to get an FFL license?
I think it's a lot easier than an FFL license because they're seen as antiques.
As long as they still fire, I'm good.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, you guys buy your antique shotguns and shoot them, and I'll watch from a distance.
Well, and wait, hold on. And I don't know if it's still true. CMP guns, can you still get them?
Yeah, you can buy CMP guns, but they require a 4473.
They do?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
My old boss that just got let go, he has a couple CMP guns, and one of them I know he bought in 2017, and it required a 4473. Okay. All right, so this is where things get a little sad. Ruger left for a hunting trip in the fall of 1951. When he returned, Sturm was in the hospital. The situation wasn't good. 10 days later, Alexander Sturm would pass away from hepatitis, leaving behind a wife and an infant daughter. This left Ruger in a tough spot. He soon found out that the $50,000 for the company actually came from Sturm's mother, Catherine, not Alex Sturm. Lawyers got involved, and she was now in charge of who was to control the company. Ruger feared that it would be Alex's father, Justin, who had expressed interest in taking over the company and also expressed interest in pushing Ruger out of it. But Alex's wife, Paulina, and his mother, Catherine, stood up to Justin. They both believed in Ruger's vision and wanted him to have control of the company. Ruger got very lucky. One decision.
He did.
He would have lost it all. This led to Ruger changing the color of the eagle from red to black in honor of his friend and business partner, Alexander Sturm. So the rumors are true. If you see a red eagle on a Ruger firearm, it was made before the death of Sturm. They are worth a significant amount of money. Have either of you ever seen a red Ruger?
I think I have once.
I've seen once. It was in a gun shop, and somebody stripped the upper and put a Pac-Lite upper on it. 100% true. And I tried to explain to the gun shop. I'm like, hey, like this is a relic. And the guy was like, no, that's how they come. And I was like, look, none of the new ones have it. And he's like, no, this
Why
is
didn't
like,
you buy it?
oh, I was poor, dirt poor. This was the one time in my life, the 1 month period I didn't have a job, and I ended up working for that gun shop when I started at Akron.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, if you see any out there, hang on to them. You've seen one? What have you seen?
I forget. It was something like, I just learned about it, and, I learned about it when I was like 13, watching American Rifleman on TV.
Okay.
And then I was at someone like, oh, that's cool. And then I just kind of wandered on. It didn't matter.
I mean, honestly, yeah, that's probably what I would do too. Yeah, it's cool, but I'm still going to shoot it and beat it like my.
Oh, no. Like, I saw it at like a show. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, that's not what I'm into right now.
Yeah. How about you? No experience?
I know this is their like logo, but I don't think I've ever seen it on a gun. I've seen it on stickers.
Yeah, there you go. I don't
I've
think
seen
I've
the
ever seen
one
it
on
gun
stickers,
either.
but I don't think I've ever seen it on a gun.
Same. So anyways, that's where the red versus black comes from. A lot of people think it's after Bill died, but I think Bill died in like 1990s.
Yeah.
So no, they were made way before that. There's very few of them still out there. So the Ruger 22 Standard Pistol, or Mark I, went on to be a huge success. It was the first Ruger firearm to reach 1 million unit production, and has since evolved through the years from the Mark Is to the Mark IIs, IIIs, and IVs. So I have a Mark III and a Mark IV. You have a Mark IV.
Yep.
What do you have?
A standard and a Mark II.
You have a Mark II.
Yeah.
Is it the slab side, the stainless one?
No, it used to have a 5-inch bull barrel. It currently has like a 2-point-something barrel.
Okay, we're not going to ask any more questions about that.
100% legal. 100% legal.
Okay, that's good.
It's a pistol. I can do what I want with it.
All right. Moving on.
What do you mean?
Moving on.
Is it still bull?
Yeah. Hey.
What?
Is it still bull?
Yes.
He says a bull barrel, like
Well,
now it's 2.5. Is
It's
it
now
still
a smaller
barrel?
bowl. I'm making it like, well, hold on. You guys aren't big movie nerds.
Assassins.
Yes.
Yes. I know
Got
enough.
my tax stamp.
All right.
That's going to be me.
All right. Anyways, that's cool.
I didn't think pistols had a regulation on how long the barrel
They
had to
don't.
be.
That's why I was like,
Then why do you need a stamp?
For the silencer.
There you go.
Okay.
That was the part that I was just not going to bring up. But anyways, yeah, the suppressor and firearms are all in legal configuration and will be configured legally. Right, Barkus?
Mine actually is, I can say proudly, 100% legal.
Sweet.
Very fast.
That's all we
turnaround.
need. The ATF does watch these videos.
Can I say, Bill Ruger's design on that pistol, super smart to make. Right? The upper receiver is literally DOM tube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can make it, I don't want to say a Dremel, because you need but you could Bridgeport easy.
Oh, yeah. Also, I think it's the most reliable 22 pistol to run suppressed.
So like
I'm serious.
Oh, yeah,
it's the quietest.
It's pure blowback.
Literally, and it's dead quiet, too.
Yeah.
What's up, Sammy?
So like we're literally talking about a dude that like had no machinery, like couldn't afford to buy machinery. All of his competitors are probably mass producing these things on an assembly line.
Absolutely.
He's like hand making these one by
Well,
a time.
what
it gets
he did,
better, too.
Gets up to 100 and says, "Okay, let's send them out."
Yep.
Well, no, what he did is he said, I can't, like the Colt Woodsman, that's a milled upper, right? What else was he competing against? High standard milled. Smith & Wesson 41 milled.
True.
So he had to go something, DOM tube, you literally just notch out.
Yep.
And you're good to go.
Yep. And he gets even craftier with stuff. So this is actually a perfect segue into the next. So from here, I'm going to talk about some of the more pivotal events in firearms in Bill Ruger's time running Sturm Ruger Co. There's a lot of things I had to cut out. There's a lot of great stories, but for time and really what's important here, I separated some things. So we'll start with probably the second most important gun in Bill Ruger's success outside of the Ruger Standard Mark I pistol. Talk about making things in a crafty way. Can you guess which the next handgun he made was? And it was a big deal back then. Made him a lot of money. Think about it. Nope.
Was it the Blackhawk?
No, close. That's number 3. Really good. Sammy.
I don't even know any handguns that he made.
It's a revolver.
Yeah, it's a Bearcat.
Nope.
The Wrangler, whatever the fuck, the 22.
Not the Wrangler. Jesus. The Wrangler came out 2 years ago.
It's a Bearcat.
No.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
So I know where the name
Can we
Bear.
have that again? Wow.
It's actually not an animal, but I'll talk. I know where the Bearcat name came from. I'm pretty sure. Think. Single six, boys. Come on.
Oh, that stupid thing.
What's so stupid?
I don't like a horse.
Worthless piece of shit.
I love my single six.
Those single sixes are only useful if you're on a horse.
They're us. Yeah, that's a Vaquero.
Oh.
Tomato. They both hold 6 rounds.
No, Vaqueros are 44 long cold.
Oh, the single six is the kid that took the CCW class and cut himself on the extractor the whole time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that kid. Don't take single actions to. Just use modern hardware if you're going to train to defend yourself.
Can I say my CCW instructor for my CCW curriculum use single action revolvers? I swear to God.
How much did that class cost?
How much? I don't want to say.
A case of
No,
beer?
you're going to say how much?
$35. Deal of the century.
Is he still licensed?
Carried 2. That's what it recommendation was.
Instead of one gun that holds 15, 2 single actions
2
that
single
hold.
sixes,
Okay.
yes.
Loser, chicken dinner. Jesus. Anyways, so the single six was actually a pretty pivotal gun for the Ruger company. First of all, no one else was making single actions at the time. Colt stopped making single actions back in those days, and it left a huge hole in the market because people loved them. Colt's sales manager said that the only real handguns were double-action police types and semi-automatics. He even told Ruger at one point, "You will find that out," but Ruger did not care. He firmly believed that Colt was in the firearms business just for money.
What?
Wow. He must have known something. Time machine.
Isn't that why anyone's in business?
I mean, okay, Colt, there's no reason a Python costs what it costs, but I can buy a 686 for $800.
But Colt's not making that money today. That's all secondary market.
Sure. What do you mean? A brand new Colt Python. You know they remade the Python, right?
Yeah, they're like 16, aren't they?
They're $1,600. A 686 is $860.
Bro,
Why would
I
they?
don't mean to get sidetracked, but the Manurin MR73.
Oh, I
thought about buying that. I thought about selling.
So they
stuff
actually
and
have
buying
new
one.
Pythons. I didn't think they started making those again.
And then what's the other one? The Cobra or the King Cobras? 44 mags. I know they have the small
They
one.
have the Anaconda.
Anaconda. That's what I'm thinking.
And the King Cobra.
Okay, I didn't know that. And then what's the small one? The police or detective special or something? Chief special?
No, are they making that again?
Yeah.
I thought it was a Cobra. They're making a 3-inch Cobra.
Well, I've got an Army special and I've got a Diamondback.
They're not making those anymore.
No, not making those. The Diamondback they should bring back. But either way, they're brand new revolvers. They're nowhere near the, in my opinion, quality of a Smith & Wesson or a GP100, and they're like double, triple the price in some cases.
I've heard they're better shooters than the originals, but I also heard that a lot of them went back broke.
Yeah.
This is all hearsay. I don't know anything about it.
Well, I remember they had problems with just fit and finish and then barrel crown problems.
I don't know.
Either way, I think he hit the nail on the head about Colt was trying to maximize profits instead of quality and customer experience, but that's just me.
So has Colt come out with any new products lately?
No. Just those.
They don't come out with anything.
They just
new.
grab the old designs and say, "Oh, we're gonna polish this and polish that, sell it again."
Oh wait, we never should have stopped making this to begin with. Here.
Yes. Well, actually, I mean, they caused a gap in the market, right?
Big time.
And then they caused demand, or they created demand for it.
True. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Would we be talking if it's been available?
No, but I mean, Walking Dead brought back the pythons.
Fuck Walking Dead.
I mean,
shitty ass TV show.
Yeah, it's pretty much a soap opera now. But I'm just saying, that drove up the value. Who else carries a Colt Python?
Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's what I really think brought it back up. Anyways, I don't know why we're talking about Colt. Yeah, so revolvers, right? We were just talking about they're super expensive to make. Lots of machining, lots of tight tolerances, hand fitting required to make a quality revolver. Ruger was still a small operation at this time, and remember, Ruger didn't want to borrow a dime or take out a loan. So Ruger had to get creative if he was going to make the single six and make it the affordable, high-quality, reliable success Ruger wanted it to be. So this is where we light the internet on fire.
Did he buy Colt seconds?
No, he did not. He did not. This is where precision investment casting comes into the story. Yes. Almost all of Ruger's revolvers to this day are precision investment casted or PIC'd. So a quick side for precision investment casting. This is where all the hate comments come in. We're gonna piss a lot of people off. You guys ready? Ready to do this?
Yeah.
All right, so investment casting is not like traditional casting. It's very different. Traditional casting is a mold with two halves. Metal is injected into these molds and then removed. This is usually low-temperature metals, like aluminum, zinc, tin-based alloys. High-temp metals will damage the molds by melting sharp corners and any small details, so you can't use like stainless steels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Too high a temperature. Investment casting, very, very, very different process. So a part is made from wax.
Yep.
So you mount a lot of wax, dip it into a very fine sand.
Yep. That's your slurry.
Correct. Yeah. There.
I did this for a living.
Did you really?
Yeah, at the Gendron company.
Okay. Oh, that's right. My bad. I thought you were going to say another company. Anyways, so the material coats the entire part. The sand coats the entire wax part. The sand-coated part is then heated to a very high temperature. The sand hardens and the wax melts and evaporates away. The molten metal is poured into the sand mold and allowed to harden. The mold is then broken apart later on when the metal is cooled and the part is then removed. This process has a bunch of advantages, right? So it allows for a very precise and detailed part to be made. Things like logos and designs come out very well in investment casting parts. This means that an investment casted part requires less finishing and processing to become a ready-to-assemble part. Also, the higher temperatures allow you to use a broader range of materials, most notably stainless steels and other stronger ferrous materials. It's important.
So do you need like a new wax model for every single piece?
Yes. Yeah, that's your investment. You're investing in the wax model.
But you've got to, so like you make one piece, you got to go make another wax model.
They make wax molds.
No, what they do exactly, you have a press. It's just like plastic injection. Two halves that come down. You hit it with hot wax, comes out. You cool it, and depending on what you want to do, it can be any shape you want. And then you put it in the slurry, dunk it out, and then you put it. I forget the actual name of the process, but it's super hot under a vacuum, and it like sucks the wax out.
So you are taking so you're doing traditional casting, but only for the wax.
Yeah.
No.
What do you mean?
So the wax is still traditional casting.
The wax is more injection molding.
Okay, so injection molding wax. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you can pop those out pretty quickly and then...
Right. And don't they call it the lost wax process?
Exactly.
Because they can recycle the sand and recycle the wax and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a pretty efficient.
Well, recycling wax, I don't think so.
Okay, maybe not. But wax is cheap, right?
Yeah.
So investment casted parts are about on par with MIMmed, metal injection molded parts, and CNC parts regarding strength and finishing, but not quite as strong as a forged part. Forged parts are still the king of strength, abrasion resistance, and toughness. The perfected age-old process of just beating shit with a hammer. They are not, however, cheap to produce and require a lot of finishing processes to get to a finished part.
Do we have much in the way of forged firearms today?
That's a hell of a good question. I know Colt's 1911 frames are forged and people get their panties all wet over that.
A bunch of stuff's forged.
I know some
Trying to
internal
think.
parts.
Smith & Wesson's all MIM now, isn't it?
Glock's all MIMmed.
Ruger's all MIMmed.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, 1911 parts, bolts, AR-15 bolts, barrels are definitely forged. Don't ever buy a cast barrel for any reason.
What?
Like if Wish.com is offering a sale don't do that.
Hey, I'm hearing experimentation time.
I think we should start this casting process.
No way, man.
Can you get the rifling right in a cast product?
No way, man.
I got a guy.
Anyways.
That specializes in casting?
Yes.
So the trade-off with forged parts, you guys know this, right? So forged parts they're much more expensive to produce and require a lot of finishing processes to get a finished part. I know this from the automotive world. When you make a crankshaft or a connecting rod or some forged pistons, if you're willing to pay that, they come out like this lump of metal that has to basically be ground into shape. So,
well, like I forged a nail and a few hooks and stuff before, and like that's kind of fun, but it's not going to look like a gun part.
Yeah, exactly. It takes a long time, right? Exactly. So, they also are much more expensive when they're forged as well. And they are also often really unnecessary for most applications. So I hesitated to bring this up, And I almost left this out because it's going to stir up a bunch of dumb comments, but here we go. This will be interesting to other gun nerds like me. If you look at a Ruger revolver, let's say a GP100, right? And you look at a Smith & Wesson 686, you will notice the frame on the 686 is a little bit more petite than the frame on the GP100. This is because the frame on the Smith & Wesson is forged, so it requires less material for similar strengths. You will also notice a very large price difference between a GP100 and a Smith & Wesson 686, but you will never notice a difference in performance or quality. So really, it doesn't really matter. I don't want people thinking that if you carry your revolver, your cast frame revolver small your back and fart really hard one day, you're going to just crack it in half. Like, that's not how it works, and that's not what I'm saying, okay? Like, I know I'm going to get fried for this.
Can I just say?
Go ahead.
I'll still pick Smith & Wesson over Ruger every day.
All right, fair enough. Also, your farts are pretty intense, so I could see you cracking
What do you
revolvers
mean?
in
My
half.
farts,
Just saying.
My
Just
farts
saying.
are like my farts are like baby hugs.
Bro, we've spent too much time in that hunting cabin out in Pennsylvania.
That was not me.
Hot air rises, and I sleep on the top floor.
Hey, I'm saying
That was not you.
That was Big Chris.
Whatever, dude. Whatever. Anyways, I am not saying one is better than the other. I am not promoting Ruger. I'm not promoting Smith & Wesson. I am just saying this is an observation of manufacturing techniques that you see in the market. Cool?
I guess so.
All right. Either way.
So at what point did like Ruger like come out with like something actually like fun?
Original.
We'll get there. What do you mean original? Andy, that's a shot in the dark. That's not
What do you mean,
nice.
shot in the dark? He made this damn pistol after a drill.
He made the drill.
No. He took a Luger and said,
That's
"Hey,
actually a Nambu, but okay.
we want to shoot a 22."
Hey, I'm just telling. He's saying, I'm just correcting him. He said that's a Luger.
Yeah, Yahtzee. No, he's dead on. I'm actually impressed with how much you know about Ruger. Seriously.
Useless knowledge. Useless knowledge.
Anyways, Ruger was really concerned that people were upset about the strength of investment casted parts versus forged. But Ruger had some scientific tests done, and then, despite the scientific test, it decided to put these pieces into a vise and beat them with a sledgehammer, because that's how you do science.
I was going to say, is a sledgehammer scientifically weighed?
So the washing machine wasn't that bad.
No, that's good.
No.
You probably beat it with a hammer. It'll be just fine.
Was there a force gauge on the hammer?
Probably.
Exactly. It's fucking pointless.
It's probably a bunch of hillbillies beating stuff with a
Thank
hammer
you.
in the middle of a show.
Thank you. It's fucking pointless.
Anyway.
Tell me that wouldn't sell you something. Somebody
wouldn't.
takes a window and starts beating it with a hammer.
Yeah, that's a window.
I want that
Back in the
window.
day.
That's
Back
a
in the
window.
day.
That's not a gun. Okay.
Yeah, and that didn't work that well for Elon Musk, okay? It just didn't.
True.
Just didn't. Anyways, all right, that's all we're going to say about that. We're not here to debate manufacturing techniques, but in all seriousness, if done correctly and with modern materials, investment casting parts can be close to or as strong as some forged parts. And then they also keep the gun in an affordable price range as well. So anyways, we're going to just walk out on that. I mean, we've all heard the MIMD versus forged debate, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I think those debates are really stupid. Most of the people, in my opinion, most of the people splitting hairs about that on the internet are going to get yeeted by heart disease before the MIMD part in their gun dies.
But people are going to debate manufacturing techniques in every industry there is.
That's true.
It doesn't matter if you're talking golf, guns.
Chevy trucks versus Fords.
Hey, I'm just saying it's okay if everyone's wrong and that forged is better.
Anyways, moving on. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, people are going to debate manufacturing processes. I think you should learn how to shoot, spend your money in the ammo aisle. It'll make you a better shooter. So back to the single six. Ruger learned about investment casting when he worked for Auto Ordnance. He didn't have much time to learn about it back then, but knew that machining the single six was not something he could afford to do efficiently or cheaply, so he looked into investment casting again. Ruger soon came across a jewelry company called Arwood. Arwood was hesitant at first because casting something as big as a revolver frame was new and seemed difficult. Also, they made jewelry, so like, whoa, gun parts. Probably out of their wheelhouse, but they eventually agreed to do this, but it was really difficult. Arwood could not do this when they first tried to accomplish these tasks. They had a high scrap rate and many part failures, but working hand in hand with Bill Ruger, they eventually succeeded and were able to mass produce the frame and other parts of the single six. Ruger later remarked that the single six could never have happened without this collaboration from Arwood. So that's how he was able to keep up with the other gun companies, was he was crafty and smart.
Is Arwood still around?
You know what?
Or a scam artist.
They got...
Could you imagine going into a jewelry store today and be like, hey, I know you can cast this ring or this necklace, but like I need you to cast this.
Well, first off,
and
hold
just
on,
handing
hold
him a
on.
cylinder.
Hold on. Think about it. Think about this. You cast stuff out of gold, right, which is soft.
Yeah.
I'm assuming a low melting point. We're going to give you steel.
Yeah.
That's 3 times what you're used to dealing with and that you've never done before.
Like, can you imagine how that conversation happened?
No.
Like, you've been in meetings where you're on the wrong side of the stick.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm sure that was a pretty rough change. You're probably right, from gold and silver to steel gun parts. Yeah.
Hey, it's the same process. I just need you to do it. It's just going to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, no, that locket with your cousin in it's really cute. Can you make this cylinder that holds bullets, please? Yeah. Anyways, do you know?
Can you imagine the first cast? There's probably a single 6 cast in gold.
No.
That would be awesome. You know I have a 24 karat gold plated revolver, right?
Yeah.
And it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
It is, and I've never shot it.
But, like, think about that. Like, if you're a jewelry company, like, you're doing that with gold and silver every day.
Actually, I
Yeah, straight
like,
up.
you tell me there wasn't somebody that's like, hey,
Use the
this is
normal
cool.
metal. Yeah.
I'm using gold.
Yeah,
I don't think it'd work.
Not to fire, but
No,
to have sitting on a
purely-
shelf.
Purely
That's what mine's gonna
because
be.
they have different shrink factors. I'm sure. I guarantee you gold and steel do.
Probably.
I mean, it wouldn't fit in parts and stuff like that.
I have no idea. Do you know how much the original price set for Ruger for a single 6 was?
$14.
Higher.
$28.
$50. That's $540 in today's money. That's about what they go for.
Is that what they go for?
Closer to 6.
How much is the Wrangler?
Under 2, I think.
$189.
Have you ever handled a Wrangler?
No, because I don't
Who
buy
makes
it.
that?
It's Ruger. Handle a Wrangler.
Is it better than the damn
Rough Rider?
Yes.
Can't be any worse than a Jeep Wrangler.
The bareback Rough Riders? Yeah. I don't know about those. Yeah, I mean, I would say their quality's on par, to be honest with you. I think a Ruger's a little bit better than the Rough Rider, but not by much.
Why doesn't Ruger make a 16-inch barrel Rough Rider or Wrangler? Like,
A bareback Rough Rider. A 16-inch bareback Rough Rider.
yes, yes. It
I don't
comes
know.
with-
Google search that.
It comes with a saddle on top the gun.
Gives it a pair of chaps, but don't got any butt fabric. Yeah, I don't know.
So is the Wrangler a single
Yeah,
shot?
it's a cheaper version.
It's a
of
cheap
single 6.
model.
Yeah, cheaper finish.
So why is that so much cheaper than the single 6? Just for the name? Or?
You'd be amazed at how, I mean, okay, so the Heritage Rough Rider had basically, they had cornered the market on the cheap single action 22, and you'd be surprised how many people love that. They're safe. They're a great first gun.
People collect them.
People do.
Well, how-
Blake has a shopkeep.
Well, like, how nice was it when we had the gun club, when we had a new shooter, giving them something that was a single shot?
Yes.
Because how many times did somebody shoot a semi-auto and then point it at you?
Yes, absolutely.
Because your first instinct is you fire, and then, hey, did I do that right?
Yeah, you turn around. My only caveat with that is I don't like people have a hard time unloading them. That's the
Yes.
only thing I have a hard time with.
And no one tried fanning it because that's the very first thing I tried.
You can break them. My buddy had a Taurus Gaucho. Took it out of the box, tried fanning it, broke it.
Well, yeah, it's Taurus, okay?
Yeah. Anyways, single 6, massive success. Its appeal was its simplicity, appearance, feel, most importantly, its reliability. After the first advertisement of the single 6, Ruger received a phone call from the post office asking them what in the world was going on. They were absolutely inundated with mail for Ruger regarding the single 6. When they got down to the post office to pick up the mail, they had it in multiple baskets and cartons and almost had to make 2 trips. Bill Ruger said he looked back on it as the most interest he had ever seen in one of their firearms in such a short period of time. Keep in mind, Bill Ruger was 34 years old at this time. I run a podcast from my basement.
Can I just say, when you said the post office contacted him, I was like, oh my gosh, they want a contract of Ruger single sixes for like pesky animals and people they don't like on their route.
I'm sick of getting chased by this dog. God, that's terrible. I wouldn't want that. All right, so you talked about the Blackhawk, right? So that was revolver number 3. So that's next up in the story. The Blackhawk itself isn't super exciting. It was first made in 38 Special 357 Magnum, built very similar to the single 6, and appealed to the people who wanted a real caliber instead of a 22 long rifle. So here's the question: do you know where the name Blackhawk came from?
I'm going to bite my tongue on this one.
Okay, you.
I'm gonna say, is there such thing as a Blackhawk?
Wait, hold on.
Because I know we've named multiple things through the years Blackhawk. Is there actually an animal that is a Blackhawk?
Does it come?
I actually don't know the answer to that.
Is it the first? Is it the first complete design after that dude died?
No, it's not.
Damn it!
All right, so Bill Ruger loved cars. He loved cars, and there was a car company way back.
Stutz Bearcat.
Okay, damn close. So there was a Stutz Blackhawk. All right, and that was one of his favorite models he decided to name it after his favorite car from Stutz. And I did some digging on that car company, and it's confusing. They existed twice and then made the Blackhawk twice. I wasn't sure which version of the car it was until I noticed the first version of the company had another car with an interesting name. That name happens to be the name of the next revolver that Ruger came out with, and you guessed it, it was the Bearcat. In 1914, Stutz had a car called the Bearcat. Uglier than, just absolutely so ugly. Now, it's nowhere official that Ruger named the Stutz Bearcat after that car.
Do you mean the car was ugly?
The car was ugly.
I've heard it's really like ahead of their time.
Yeah.
They had a flash. They had a headlight that would turn when you turn the steering wheel, so you could look ahead and all this other cool shit.
That's kind of cool, but that would be one more thing to fail very
Well, yeah, but in
quickly.
1914, they're thinking about this.
Yeah.
No, when people are using acetylene to,
Super common back then.
yeah,
Yeah.
they actually thought, hey, why don't we do this?
No, for real. So it's nowhere official. It's not on Ruger's website in any Ruger's history, not in the books I read. But that makes the most sense that the Bearcat was named after a car, too.
Well, if you name the first one after, if we're going to admit that we named the first one after a car,
Yeah.
the next one
Probably.
is the same car company
Yeah.
that it had to be after that.
Yeah.
That's what I straight up think. Do you know what? So this was 1958.
What did Stutz make after that?
I don't know. They
think
made a
that's
couple
it.
cars.
I think that's it.
I think they had at least 4, but yeah, I don't know.
They were super small, and I don't think
They were super small.
and I think they're super originals expensive today.
They were out of business by the 1950s or something
Yeah.
like that. All right, do you know what the MSRP was on a Bearcat?
Pistol.
Yeah. This is wild.
$122.
No.
No.
Okay, so what's wild is what they go for today. Go ahead. What's your guess?
I mean, they go for today. You know, like an original Bearcat.
An original Bearcat. So
They go
back
for like $650 today, don't they?
no higher. So the original price was $50. That's $500 in today's money. Dude, they go for over $800 for a Bearcat.
Wow.
Yeah, like a tiny little.
So what's the
revolver,
difference between a Bearcat and a Blackhawk?
Well, that's a pretty big. So it goes tiny little Bearcat, normal size single 6, and then big boy centerfire cartridge Blackhawk.
So what does?
What's
so
the
what,
difference between a Bearcat and a Wrangler?
But
Size.
I'm over here clueless,
Quality.
and I need to know, what does a Bearcat shoot?
22.
22.
Oh, so it was their first 22 revolver.
No,
There's a third 22 revolver.
Yahtzee. No, second.
Third.
Third revolver,
Third
second
revolver.
22. Yeah.
Was it single action or double?
Single action. Dude, they're mini. They're little guys. Designed to be for trappers to dispatch animals.
Almost like the North American arms, like today,
Bigger.
tiny.
Bigger than that.
A little bit
bigger than
little
that?
bit bigger. but
Almost
yeah.
like the Rough Rider Shopkeep.
Yahtzee. I'd say that's
Okay.
the best comparison. You know Blake has a shopkeep, right?
Yeah.
Not a huge fan.
Well, he would be here and could explain that to us if he was allowed to travel.
Yes.
He was allowed to enter the state of Michigan.
Yes, his parents said no.
Yes, that's right. He had to do some. He had to be in bed early tonight or something.
He had to do chores.
Right. Community service.
I did not say that. Blake, I was protecting.
We're sorry, Blake. We miss you, man. So the original Blackhawk isn't exciting, but how the Blackhawk became chambered in .44 Magnum is a pretty funny story. Ruger loved to screw with his competitors. Respectfully, of course, but he definitely knew how to get information from people, and this is a good example of that. One day, someone walks into Ruger's office with 5 shells and asks him if he's ever heard of this cartridge. The head stamps read UMC .44 Magnum. Ruger was excited. It was just .44 Special, but longer, just like .38 Special and .357 Magnum. Ruger used those 5 rounds to design a prototype, but needed many more shells for testing and development. So Ruger thought, okay, I'll call Remington. Remington wouldn't tell him a damn thing. Remington basically told him to piss off. So Ruger started digging and found out that .44 Mag was a joint development between Remington and Smith & Wesson. I didn't know that. And both parties were sworn to secrecy over this special calendar. But again, in typical Ruger fashion, he did not give a shit. He was not to be outdone by two companies that turned him down in the past. So Ruger called Remington's director of marketing, Dewey Godfrey, and asked to have an industry conversation with Dewey, and Ruger said that Dewey knew damn well why he was calling and that their silence would not stop him from getting his hands on some 44 Magnum ammunition. So Ruger sat down with Dewey for some time. Towards the end, Ruger was getting frustrated. Dewey would consistently deflect his questions about this new cartridge, and finally, Ruger couldn't take it anymore and said, "How about some of that damn ammunition, Dewey?" And Dewey said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't need to say another word. When you leave, there's a brown bag on the table by the door. Just grab it when you go."
Wait, hold on. Was this an exact quote?
Exact quote.
He said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa."
He said, "How about some of the damn ammunition, Dewey?" Dewey had knew that this was coming and told Ruger, "Calm down. He leaves. Yeah, there's a table. There's a bag on the table by the door."
So we're trying.
You got me all screwed up. But yes,
but basically we're trying to get away from that NDA and
Correct.
be like, "I'm not giving it to you, but there might be something on that table."
Yahtzee. So later on, it was said Dewey couldn't talk about it, and Dewey didn't talk about it, but Dewey ended up getting Ruger the ammunition that he needed, and that's how the Black Hawk became chambered in 44 Magnum. Yeah. So that was not the last time Ruger would screw with Remington. Sometime later, they were having a tough time getting proof loads for 44 Magnum. These proof loads were made by Remington because Sammy said they had to be made by Remington. The purchasing agent came to Ruger and told him, "I've tried everything I can, and I cannot get Remington to send me any proof loads." So Ruger called up the president of Remington this time and said, "I've got my top purchasing agent here with tears in his eyes. He's bawling his eyes out because he can't get any proof loads." The purchasing agent later commented and said, "This actually shook Remington up a bit, and we got our proof loads right away." Yeah, just tell him a grown man's crying in your office, and they'll send you whatever you want. Yeah, he was pretty cool. Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
old Ruger guy,
Bill.
Old
Billy Ruger.
very intelligent when it comes to making guns.
Oh, yeah.
I know a few people that probably shouldn't leave their farm ever that could take a cartridge and make a die to make we make those.
Oh, yeah.
So you're telling me that he couldn't make any of his own ammunition?
I mean, like, he doesn't know what powder's in it, or
Yeah.
he probably could have, but, like, let's say you build an entire prototype around the wrong ammunition recipe.
I had no clue what the recipe was for a 4570 until I put 3 extra loads of grain into it and almost blew my hand off.
And I quote, actual Sammy quote, "I don't measure anything. I put a primer in the fucker and ship it. You're worried too much about the ammunition." That's a reloading question, and that was his advice that I got. Seriously, I have the text message. Where were we? So quick fun fact. I got to be mad at Ruger for a short period of time here. So you guys see that picture, that second page there? They made a prototype gun in the 1950s. It's absolutely amazing. It's called the Baby Nambu, and it looks, functions, and loads just like a real 7mm Nambu pistol.
Does it function like the real baby Nambu?
Yes.
I've handled a real baby Nambu.
I really
Where did we get a Nambu?
What?
Korea?
Where did you handle a Nambu?
I got a guy.
You got a guy?
That was a Korean handgun, right?
No, it was Japanese.
Was
And
it Japanese?
he had all the Nambus,
Oh, okay.
and he sold them all. Because there's 5 sizes, I think. I could be wrong.
Are they valuable?
Yes, insanely valuable.
And they're in like a weird 7mm.
And there's a Nambu revolver, too.
That I've seen.
So what's the difference between a Nambu and a Luger?
A Nambu is like a Ruger pistol, except shittier.
That's like asking the difference between Bud Light and Coors Light.
Yeah.
So like we should go like see the Luger guy and be like, "Hey, why don't you have any Nambus?" and just see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, you want to know why he didn't make it?
Costs.
No, he didn't want any of the guns in any of his product lines to be concealable. He didn't want any concealable guns.
I heard rumors he was big against like the non-25 round mags for 1022s and stuff like that.
So that's in this. I think I left this in the story, but I researched that pretty deeply. That was a chess move. I'll talk about it at the end if I have time.
Because the 1022 is probably the most famous Ruger firearm in my mind.
Literally.
It's probably after the Mark IIs or after the pistols in general.
So you're off on that.
Am I?
You're off on that. You're close, but you're off.
It's not the fucking Wranglers, is it?
Because
No, not the Wranglers.
Well,
Wranglers are.
Well,
leave
I'm
those
just
out.
thinking,
Leave those out.
going and talking to people. Most people that own a Ruger own a 1022.
Yeah, no, straight up.
Oh, I have a
I haven't-
1022 too. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I don't have a 1022, if you can believe that.
And you're
I have
communist.
a Charger because I'm.
Well,
And now
the
you're even more
Charger, the
communist.
Charger is a 1022, basically.
Yeah. Anyway, so he called himself a wimp for not producing it. Also noted that it was a complicated mechanism and expensive to produce. So, Ruger, if you're listening, please remake the Baby Nambu. It would be awesome with a threaded barrel and a red dot sight.
It would never happen.
It will never happen.
No.
All right, so far Ruger's only made pistols. Can you guess what the very first long gun that Ruger ever made? Hint: it's still a legend among deer hunters and has made somewhat of a modern comeback.
Was it that 44 semi-auto
44 carbine, really good.
with the tube magazine?
I don't think the original was a tube magazine. I don't think any of them were tube magazines. Come to think of it,
I've seen one that's a tube magazine, bro.
Well, his Level
Sure.
Action is
Okay.
a tube magazine.
Yeah.
But-
No. Ruger doesn't. No, Ruger did make a lever action 44.
for a while.
Yeah, no, they made. I swore
Way
I
back.
saw a 44 Ruger auto with the two fingers like on a shotgun.
Really?
The lifter. I forget where, but I swore.
Maybe. Okay. I thought they were all rotary magazines, but I could be wrong.
I could be wrong.
All right, so anyways, first long gun that Ruger ever produced was the 44 carbine. The first prototype recoiled so bad it would routinely wipe out scopes and shear scope-based screws. It eventually got the rifle dialed in and began like actual testing on it. And this testing was extremely scientific. It included cutting down trees with bullets, firing it straight into the air to retrieve bullets to see how they looked, and probably most scientific of all, exploding porcupines.
I got a question.
Because science. What's up?
Was the water content measured in these porcupines before they exploded?
Okay.
Were
No.
the tree diameters measured before they were cut?
No, bro, this is science.
Well, we went
Measuring is stupid.
we went to that competition. That part of the competition was knocking down or cutting through a piece of wood.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
right, but that was with high-powered rifles. So
And what's more high power than 44?
44 would have been
Any
easier
next
than what
rifle
we were
cartridge?
shooting.
Wait, it worked for Dirty Harry. No, never mind. He used a 416, didn't he?
no, he's 44 Magnum.
No, he used a 416 and Dirty Harry won.
Did he
44
really?
Magnum and he used a 416. I believe it was a 416 Rigby to shoot at Scorpio.
That's right. You are a movie nerd, by the way.
I am.
Just letting you know that.
So I chased a porcupine on UTV once. So.
I did too.
On a UTV?
No, on foot. I wanted one of his quills at our cabin.
Both of you have chased porcupines?
Well,
on two
well,
separate
well. I
occasions?
chased it. I didn't make it very far because I was like, "Oh, if I catch it, what am I going to do?"
well,
Wait, you guys
we were
dating your
chasing
sisters
it.
too? Like what?
So when I was in the position of chasing a porcupine, we were chasing it, trying to have a conversation on if we were supposed to shoot it or not. We weren't sure if we were supposed to shoot porcupines because we thought we were, and then somebody said no, let's not, and I'm like, but I see it in the scope. Can I pull the trigger?
I chased one because I wanted a quill, and I made it like 5 feet. And I'm like, "Oh shit! If I catch it, what am I going to do?" And I'm like, "I'm not fast enough to catch it. Let's get realistic about this."
Yeah, no, fair
And
enough.
then we were driving, and we found one roadkill, all bloated and nasty. And my dad's like, "Well, there it is. Go grab one."
Go grab a quill.
I still have not to grab one. I should buy one off eBay.
Yeah, so anyways, cutting down the trees in the Blue Mountain Forest was how they did the durability testing. They took 10 rifles, cases of ammo, and each shooter had a dedicated loader. How cool would that be? And loaded the magazines for them. They rapid-fired the guns into the trees until cutting them down with bullets became a contest among the shooters. They shot tens of thousands of rounds of 44 Magnum that day, to quote Bill Ruger. They also, this is crazy to me, decided to fire the 44 carbine into the air in order to try to recover a bullet to study.
Yeah, but bro, think about it.
No, I don't want to think about it.
There's
I don't
less-
care what
That's
time.
very different than people on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, and there's less people back then.
Still dangerous.
The less people back then. Think about stats, bro. Less people.
Still,
More-
no, they weren't doing it just into the air. They would do it so it would land close to them. They would fire it straight into the air.
Well, the straighter in the air is better, according to Mythbusters. They did do a full study.
Okay.
And it loses stability on the way down.
Dude, it's Mythbusters.
So-
I want to
so
see
that way
you
you can get
stand
hit by a-
underneath a bullet.
That way you can get hit by a tumbling 44.
Exactly, and get knocked out instead of just killed.
No,
You know what? I'll give you a baseball mitt. I'll shoot one in the air.
Anyways, the Ruger Super Science team here decided not to do that because during testing, one bullet came down very close to them and scared the hell out of them. It was quoted, they never did recover a non-disfigured bullet that day. Apparently shooting them into the traps, the 44 mag was so powerful out of a rifle, they'd shoot it into the bullet traps, and it would destroy the bullet, even with sawdust and stuff in there.
Yeah. Well,
Crazy.
Why didn't they shoot it in like a pool?
But
Yeah, I feel like there was other
ways. If you shot a bullet into a 55-gallon drum, it disfigures the bullet. They would try to actually see the lifeline.
Yep. Yeah, straight up. I mean, what they were doing was make sense. It was just in a really unsafe way. There's better ways to do it. Finally, in an effort to study terminal ballistics, Ruger was out hunting with the Ruger Super Science team, and one of the members on the team noticed a porcupine climbing up a tree. Porcupines were considered a pest in the area, so the member of the Super Science team decided that he would shoot it. Ruger, not wanting to miss an opportunity to see the terminal ballistics of a 44 Magnum in action, stood underneath the tree, so this guy was just shooting over his head, to get a front row seat to this. Apparently, the 44 Magnum hit the porcupine with such a force that it rained porcupine parts on old Bill Ruger. Actual quote, "It looked like a bomb had gone off. My God, Bill, you're covered in shit."
Did the porcupine do a backflip, though, is the best question.
I don't know. It sounds like it came apart in pieces.
Can we please start a Ruger Super Science team?
Right here, baby. Ruger Super Science team, right here.
Right here.
That's us. Ruger. We'll take our sponsorship and pay anytime you want it. Honestly, working for Bill back in the day sounds awesome.
It does. I doubt it's like that today.
Me too. Like, could you imagine, like, Bill
Could you
Ruger?
imagine stand under here, bro, while
Yeah.
I try to shoot up, and you just try to hold your hands out and see if you can grab one real quick.
Who the hell is OSHA? Stand out there and catch this bullet, intern.
Yeah. Don't be a pussy.
Exactly. Could you imagine, like on a Monday morning meeting, like Bill Ruger being like, "Hey, where are we at with this 44 carbine?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, well, we cut down some trees. We shot in the air a whole bunch. And Harry from accounting, yeah, he exploded a porcupine. So I think we're good. What else can we do? I think we're ready to produce it." All right, so the next up is the legendary 1022.
Okay.
All right. So this is without question the best known firearm Ruger has ever made and will probably ever make. Many people think the 1022 is the first gun that Ruger had ever made or was the first rifle they made, but it actually exists because of the 44 carbine. Early model 44 carbines and 1022s looked nearly identical. They both used a rotary magazine, have similar receiver and barrel designs, and it's arguably one of the best selling 22s in history. Production began in 1964, and by 1994, they had sold 3 million 1022s. I'm sure that's doubled by now.
Oh, easy.
Easily.
Easy. Because you have all the off-market 1022s.
Correct. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot about those.
Yeah. Because you can buy action that's not a 1022 action.
Yeah, the patent ran up years ago. Years and years ago. We were in college still.
And what rifle model is there selling more than 1022s?
No way. Nothing that I could think of.
I can think of one.
Which one?
This is a guess.
What?
It's that Marlin
Model 60?
Yes.
Maybe.
That piece of shit that you can buy for like $100. I mean, for $100, bro.
But they jam their pieces.
For $100.
Okay, fine. $100. Anyway,
know,
speaking of money, do you know what the original price of the 1022 was?
$169.
No, $55. That's $517 in today's money. Sam, can you close that gap for me? Yeah, that's $517 in today's money. So this is actually a rare occasion where something is cheaper to buy in today than they were back then. 1022s go for about $350 today. I've seen them as low as $299 in some cases.
Yeah.
So dirt cheap, for real. They made a boatload of different models, but the coolest ones I found were the MSP models, or military and special purpose. These models were not sold to the public, but featured like camouflage finishes, threaded barrels for suppressors, folding stocks, and even had provisions for bolt stops, which held the bolt closed under firing, which helps reduce sound signatures.
Have you seen the ones by the IDF?
No. Somebody else was just telling me about these guns.
Yeah.
I've never seen pictures of them.
I've seen some pictures of them.
They cool? What makes them different? Like
it's just an integrally suppressed 1022.
Yeah, okay, that's what I
and
thought.
I think they might have a bolt stop. I think.
That I would believe that. So the U.S. military eventually adopted the 1022. It was actually
Really?
adopted for military uses. It replaced the nylon 66. It saw use by the Navy SEALs in Southeast Asia and Vietnam.
What did we do with a nylon 66 in the military?
I have no idea, but yeah,
That's what my question was. It's.
I mean, how many 22s can you say were used in Vietnam? Like none. Three. Okay, Hush Puppy 1022.
The Hush Puppy was 9mm.
No, Hush Puppy was 22. I've held one.
No, bro.
Hush
Puppy was a Model 39 with high sights and quick detach suppressor. You're talking about the high standard OSS pistol.
No, I'm talking about the one made by Ruger that I've held with my own hands.
That was never an official government contract.
It was never? Okay,
No.
never mind then. Anyways, all right, so there were... I'm just saying, that's a cool fact. You can say your 22 was used in Vietnam. Your 1022 was.
But what was used with the 1022? Because I saw what a 9mm did to somebody, and it didn't do enough.
I mean, you could kill... 22s kill people.
Yeah, you'd be
guard dogs.
Guard lights.
Guard.
I feel like dogs are the big thing.
Dogs would probably be the big thing. Critters. Hunting, survival, that kind of thing.
I just don't see that
Sentries.
as being like a big like I guess a well placed shot would work.
Yeah.
But like
Well, the thing is,
quiet.
Well, yeah, but with a 1022, you can do like 6 well-placed shots.
Yeah, it comes down to ammo quality too.
Yeah, like right now.
Right. All right. So you know the 1022 was used to break some records? Me neither. Apparently, in 1987, there was a name by the name of John Huffer, and Mr. Huffer broke the world record for aerial target shooting. He shot, 100% true, look this up, multiple sources, 40,060 2.5 wooden blocks out of the air with the Ruger 1022.
I've heard this before.
Without a single miss.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
It took him like days, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So he
And-
tossed it in the air.
Yes.
He had a tosser.
He had a tosser.
And he beat the guy from Winchester, if I'm not mistaken.
This was an actual competition?
No. This is the guy from Winchester, like from the 20s or something.
Okay.
And no one beat him because, no one cared.
That's how I think about this too. Yeah, okay, so 2.5 wooden blocks out of the air with a Ruger 1022 without a single miss. He also set the 24-hour record by shooting 8,900 wooden blocks out of the air. He used 18 different 1022s to complete this. Afterwards, plaques were made and inserted into the stocks of these rifles, so somewhere these rifles are floating around the world. I couldn't shoot something sitting still directly away from me 8,900 times and not miss once.
Oh, I could.
You think you could?
Yes.
How many times can we
8,000.
You're talking like
$900.
7 yards.
Okay, maybe I could do that. But still, okay, a moving block. Like, that's impressive.
However, he had 18 of them. I'm not impressed, Ruger.
Me neither. I thought the same thing. If it was with one rifle, I would have been like, that's cool, but not 18 of them.
Oh. Yeah, the guy from Winchester had it before.
But it would be no different than like switching out after so many rounds. It was probably preset. It probably wasn't the rifle wasn't bad. It just was probably like we preset it that we would.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was probably trying to make them all famous is what he was trying to do. I don't know. My thing is, like, can you imagine driving by and there's just a dude standing in a field around 40,060 blocks with a dude and a gun? Like, I'd just be like...
I saw a picture of the Winchester guy.
Yeah?
Because one of the old Fuds I shoot with, he told me about it.
Does not surprise me at all.
And there's literally like a 12-foot pile of these wooden blocks.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting on them with his Winchester. And I'm assuming the Ruger's the same thing.
Yeah, I would assume
Except
that
I
too.
think the Winchester guy had one rifle.
I don't know. That
So,
looks
like,
crazy to me.
Can we just throw this out there? Like, what size are these blocks?
2.5 inches?
2.5, 2.5.
2.5.
So,
You know exactly what 2.5 inches looks like.
thanks.
Yahtzee. Got him.
So we are literally like making a square out of a 2x4.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
And shooting it out of the air
And
with a
just toss it in
22.
the air.
I say we try it.
40,000 times?
But
okay.
like, how do you put like?
I'll watch.
So like, you have to actually see the like hole in it.
Yeah, I'm sure they had to pick it up and verify that.
No, I'm sure it's like pine and it just breaks in half or something.
Yeah, or it moves or flings real far away and
Yeah.
they're like definite hit.
Well, because like you gotta get you pay off a score and trap, they're gonna tell you got a
Yeah.
chip.
Yeah, that's true too. I don't know. Like, I think we should reach out to 22 Plankster and be like, you ain't no John Huffer. You ain't shit until you break 40,060 wooden blocks, son.
It'll cost him like his lifetime supply of lumber.
Yeah, wood right now is super expensive.
But like, do we just like? I'm really confused by this process. So like, I watched a female shoot a goose out of the air with a 22.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And You saw this in Mexico. You saw this in Mexico.
Mexico?
That's where you witnessed that.
Okay, yes, that's why I witnessed that.
Yep, that didn't happen here in the United States.
But, like, a clay pigeon getting tossed in the air, like shooting with a shotgun, would be no big deal. But you're telling me I'm going to shoot that with a 10-22?
Yep, 40,000 times.
I think if they're thrown right, it wouldn't be too bad.
I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could get to 40, to be honest with you.
I don't think I could do it once.
Same.
I say fuck it. Let's try it.
All right, sure.
It's something we can do.
We got wood.
So, like, are we, like, throwing it out of a trap house? Or
No.
are we, like,
Nope, Barker's going to throw it.
Yeah,
straight up in the air? Like,
well, it can't be straight up because you gotta be safe, but
Nah,
it had to
straight
be
up.
like it had to be. It can be done.
I get it. All right, are you guys...
I really want to try this now. Like, I'm really intrigued about this.
Well, you got a house now,
What a
so we'll do it
block.
at your house.
Yeah, you're in township.
Yep.
You can shoot.
We're good.
I think that might be frowned upon.
By who? The HOA?
Yeah, I'm
Fuck 'em.
involved in
Fuck the HOA.
something called an HOA, and I did not know what I was signing up for
Yeah.
until I had to get my driveway extension approved.
How'd you know you're not with the? How'd you not know what the HOA is?
My wife decided we were building this house.
Okay.
Okay.
This
Enough
we
said.
could go on forever about
Enough
this.
said.
All right, you guys ready to get really weird? Ruger made a car. He actually made a car. In 1965, Ruger designed and built 2 prototypes. It was called the Ruger Sport Tourer, and he made plans to make around 500 a year. It was supposed to be a luxury touring car. It looked like a Bentley, but had a 425 Ford 427 V8 in it. Ruger even began working with Ferrari to have V12s shipped to the U.S. for the Sport Tourer. Ruger unveiled the car in the 1969 New Mexico Auto Show. It was advertised with a price of $12,000 to $13,000. So you know what killed it? Why didn't it happen? Can you guess?
Ferrari's stupid.
Close. I wish that was the answer because I hate Ferrari, but no.
Because he couldn't actually make them?
Do you remember what else was coming out in the 1960s?
Mustang.
No, the 1965. That's when good old Ralph Nader published Unsafe at Any Speed.
Yes, but that was against the Chevy
What was that?
Corvair.
Corvair, correct. But the government started making giant regulations in the auto industry, and Ruger said he tried his best to keep up with the changing regulations. But surprise, the government was difficult to work with, and the new regulations were difficult to interpret
Which
and
he found
expensive
out
to implement.
numerous times in his life.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Ruger was quoted by saying the government basically told him, do your best and we'll see what happens. Yeah, not producing the Ruger Sport Tourer was one of Ruger's biggest regrets. Yeah. You know, he also made golf clubs for Callaway. He did. He did the casting for the heads, small capacity. They're actually still out there. You can buy them. I want to get one and keep it in my safe next to my 223 and tell people both are deadly at 400 yards.
Yeah, except the
they're not.
line at
Yeah.
the golf club and the 223 for you.
Correct.
All they would have
Correct.
to do is
Maybe
see,
100 yards.
all they would have to do is see you shoot and golf,
And
they
golf,
would know
and
you
really
would be
Same
fine.
time.
We're safe.
Same time, another
Yeah.
challenge.
We'll camp out here. Yeah. Yeah, he also designed his own boat twice as well. So, yeah, Ruger made a bunch of stuff. You guys know the M77?
Yes.
The Scout? So that was designed to compete against the Model 70 and the Model 700. Ruger was told that the investment casted bolts would never hold up. Remember investment casting? Both under hydraulic shear testing, the bolt lugs of the M77 casted bolt was actually stronger than the Model 70 and 700 bolts because the 770 bolts were made from bar stock that had a tendency to fail along the grain lines, whereas the casted M77 bolts had no grain lines and were able to stand up to greater shear forces. Cool fact, Leonard Brownell of the Brownells, the online store that we all know and love, was heavily involved with the M77 stock design. Bill told Len that he wanted the grip to look like a Polish girl's ankle, big, thick, and husky. Bill later said that he knows there are plenty of Polish girls out there with pretty ankles. Yeah. You have an M77, don't you?
No, I don't. I want one.
I have one. Do you have? You don't. You just have your RPR, right?
Yeah, I got the OPO.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I forgot you had that.
Yeah, I guess.
I've got about 2,500 rounds to that thing.
Yeah.
Can I say for this channel, we need to get an M77 and an African game cartridge, and it's purely so I can shoot an elephant gun. I really don't care about this channel. I really just want to shoot an elephant gun, and I'm trying to make it happen.
I'm not really sure if they make them. I think they're just in 308s and 223s these days.
No, you can get the African.
Can you really? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'll be going back to
So
Africa.
how do you define an African cartridge?
big.
Thick and husky?
Yeah, just like me. It's like shooting me.
But like people shoot 300 Wood Mag over there. Is that an elephant cartridge?
Oh,
or is that
not an elephant cartridge, but
Well, I guess technically, right?
I've seen it do some work.
Supposedly 30-06 is enough. Supposedly.
I believe that. Right spot.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking solid copper, 400 or .4 caliber, or you got 375 H&H
That's the minimum elephant cartridge.
and 375 Ruger, right? That's up there.
Do you have a or a security 6?
No, I want one.
Okay, so they're actually pretty awesome revolvers. I had one come into a shop I worked for once that was stainless. It was stainless steel and stamped Ohio State Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. The Security 6 was introduced in 1971 and was Ruger's first double-action revolver developed to compete against the Colt and Smith & Wesson for the preferred revolver of choice for law enforcement. And like all other things that Ruger made, he wanted it to be affordable, simplistic in design, and most importantly, durable. Emphasis on the durable.
I want to say, I've heard they're fucking tanks.
So listen to what they put these things through. So this is a durability demonstration from potential buyers, and what they put these through is insane. This is a first-hand account from SWAT magazine in 1987. The test would start by firing 6 rounds out of the revolver. Then immediately after, the demonstrator would throw the gun downrange, pick it up, wing it against the concrete barrier, and throw it back to where he was standing and fire 6 more rounds. The demonstrator would then allow the guests to throw the revolver at anything they wanted: the concrete wall, the asphalt pathway, sand, the gravel backstop, literally anything. Usually the front sight would get bent, the grips would break, and the demonstrator would just tape the grips back together and fire 6 more rounds out. 6 more rounds out of it every time somebody threw it. 6 more rounds. Finally, they would lay the gun on the asphalt, bring a delivery truck around, and start doing a burnout, and slowly roll over the gun while it's doing a burnout. While spinning the tires, it would roll over the revolver, and they would do this twice. They would then take the revolver, cover it in rubber, and fire 50 rounds of full-power .357 Magnum rounds through it. The Security 6 functioned perfectly throughout this entire test. The article stated, "I now understand why Ruger has no authorized service centers. All failures are sent back to the factory, and that department is one man in a small office." Those things were bulletproof.
Can I just say, guns getting run over by trucks or whatever
Yeah.
doesn't really impress me.
It's a revolver. The timing and it impresses me a little.
Yeah, but
If you ran over my Glock, I wouldn't care, but
I guess.
Okay,
from
every single gun you own, I want to run over.
Well, yeah, but I mean, think about it from like a material standpoint. What's going to fail? The truck's not heavy enough to squish the cylinder or collapse the cylinder.
no, but you could break the timing.
How? It's not moving.
The revolver, I don't know. I feel like you could throw it out of time or bend mess with the forcing cone.
How? Forcing cones in the barrel is protected by the cylinder.
What if you bent the grip with the mainspring in it?
As long as there's pressure, it'd be fine. I mean, you know what I mean?
What if you broke the hammer? You're right. It's not like
To me, it's not nearly as impressive.
if you get run over with a truck with a revolver on your side, you have way bigger problems.
No, yeah, but
I'm just saying
you
it's
know
still
what I mean?
impressive.
People run over a Glock with a truck and they're like, it's tough. I'm like, you ran over a metal slide.
yeah.
You're not gonna crush a metal slide that's supported.
I don't know. Take the mag out and run it over. You might crush that frame.
That's true, but I mean, you know what I mean? To me, it's just like, try something new.
Yeah.
I want to see someone take their gun for toughness and run it over with one of those rollers on the highway. Yeah.
Speaking
We might
of
be able to make that happen.
Yeah.
Blake, yeah.
Do you have a roller?
Blake has access to all that stuff. We shouldn't say this.
No, we
Anyways,
shouldn't.
Well, I was saying more of, they got this thing that's like 3-sided that's pulled behind a large tractor,
yeah.
and it literally looks like it just fucks everything. Like it just falls and cracks everything.
Probably does.
And I think that would be awesome to put one of Barker's guns under.
Why is it
Maybe
my
7
gun?
of them.
Why is it my gun?
Because you said it's not impressive to be ran over if you're a
By a
gun.
truck, not your damn fucker machine.
You speaking of tough guns, you're a fan of the Mini 14, aren't you?
I want one because it was on the A team. But
There you go. So the Mini 14 was designed to be a scaled-down and improved version of the M14.
But it ran like M1 carbine, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Ruger thought this would give him an advantage in procuring military contracts because many military personnel loved the M1 and the M14. But this was 5 years after the development and adoption of the M16 by the U.S. military. Regardless, Ruger swears that if the Mini was brought to the military first, it would have been the standard Army rifle. Do you think that's true?
No.
Me neither. Me neither. So, fun fact.
So the Mini 14 he thought would be the...
That's what he thought.
The Mini 14 is more like the M1 carbine than it is
Yeah.
not the M14.
So he thought if he got there first over the M16.
Actually, I think that's true.
Do you think that's true?
Just because...
Would you
The
rather have
politics
that
of it?
over an M16?
No. I'm saying just because of the familiar... It's more like an M14
Familiar.
or M1 Grand than it is M16. I'm not saying it's a
Familiar.
better option.
All right, so you want to know a fun fact, a little bit of irony? Bill Ruger had the chance to buy Stoner's AR-15 patent before Armalite. Or, I'm sorry, before Colt. He had a chance to, and he turned it down. He got turned down by so many people in his career coming up, and he turned down Armalite on that.
Think about what if.
What if? That would have been crazy. Colt got it. Yeah.
We would actually, if Ruger got a hold of it, we'd have steel receiver upper and lower ARs today.
Probably. They'd be bomb-proof, literally. Yeah. So during the test phase for the Mini 14, Ruger actually had a chance to test the prototype, but the prototype had a problem with the trigger guard, which also served as the rifle's takedown lever. Much like the M1 and the M14, an engineer attempted to warn Ruger of this, but Ruger silenced him, stating, "I know how to shoot a gun." Upon firing, the rifle disassembled itself in his hands and laid in a pile at his feet. Terrified of losing his job, the engineer started laughing. Luckily, Ruger saw the humor in it, and the engineer kept his job. But the gun, literally, one pull of the trigger, exploded in his hands and fell to his feet. So the Mini 14 had a kind of a rough upbringing, but it saw great success overseas with France and the French National Police, as well as South America too.
I know a bunch of prisons bought him over here too.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, Leonard Brownell also worked on the Mini 14.
I don't know that.
Yeah, Brownell and Ruger were pretty tight back in the day. So, last gun in the story, and then we'll talk about the end of this. Do you guys ever have any experience with the P85?
Yes, my dad has one.
Okay. Have you ever shot one, Sam?
What is the P85?
It's a metal semi-automatic pistol.
It's a tank of a 9mm.
Literally, the way they tested it is insane. You've never seen one? I used to have one.
He has a P series. I don't want to quote P85.
Okay.
I think
P95s are the most
something.
common. Yeah.
Something like that.
Those are super common. So this was built like an absolute tank. That's what I actually have written here, built like an absolute tank. They made sure of it through some insane testing. No porcupines this time. The P85 was developed to compete against the Beretta and Smith & Wesson for the U.S. military pistol contract, and also a little because Ruger wanted to keep up with the semi-auto fad taking over the firearms industry. Keep in mind, this is when Glock was on their claim to fame. P85 had both investment casted stainless steel frame and slide. This kept the pistol very competitive on price, sometimes coming in $100 cheaper than the competition, but did not compromise on strength or quality at all. The durability testing consisted of firing thousands of rounds of high-pressure M882 9mm. You know what that is?
Is that AP?
No, NATO spec ammo. It's extremely hot. It's the hottest stuff you can get.
So it's like 124 plus P.
Something. I actually don't know the grains off the top of my head.
Well, if it's NATO's 124.
Okay. But anyways, they took that, they welded the end of the barrel shut with a steel rod, and then fired it with an M882 round in it. This would only damage the extractor because the case rapidly extruded from the chamber, and the barrel would bulge at the end. But they would replace the barrel and extractor and fire thousands more rounds of the M882, and the gun would hold up. They even went as far as to remove the right side of the ejection port, so it was just like two little pieces of metal holding the slide together. Then they'd fire 2,000 more rounds of M882 ammunition, basically operating the gun with higher pressure rounds with just about the slide cut completely in half. No signs of stress, and functioned perfectly.
Testing for this guy would be awesome.
Yeah, like...
I don't know. Can you imagine holding that?
No, I wouldn't want to
Can you
hold that.
imagine being the one that's told to hold it?
Yeah, it goes off, and then the backside of the slide just
Just think,
hits you in the face.
just think you'd be able to sue him for your hand. And
Yeah, and you
there's
get like
probably a
4
price
weeks.
for your
Dude,
hand.
he would make you sign all sorts of
I was
paperwork.
going to say you probably get like $4,000 for your hand.
If you're lucky for your hand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, $1,000 per finger.
Hey,
not
I lost my
thumbs.
hand. I'm gonna go to my non-dominant hand now. Can you at least
I was
just
going
like
to say
supply
I've
with
been
ammo
in
for life?
situations like that before, and
Yeah.
it's scary.
Nope. So anyway, so you guys you've shot one. You've never shot one? I highly recommend. They're great guns. For the money, they're great guns.
They're going up in price now.
Yeah.
They're not
anything like that.
They're not as cheap as what they were.
I remember I had a chance to buy one for $195, and I did.
Yeah, they're now like $300.
Yep, I believe that. All right, so this takes us up to the 1990s. There were several updated new firearm productions in the 1990s, but two notable guns that are still around today: Mini 30 and the Ruger 2245. The Mini 30 was designed for foreign countries that used a 7.62x39 cartridge, but actually found its biggest success as a deer hunting rifle in the U.S. I know, that's wild. In Texas, I've seen it done, not up around here. The 2245 was designed to mimic the 1911 in both grip angle, dimensions, and magazine release, and was the first iteration of the Mark series to be made with polymer. The polymer frame was designed to cut costs and keep the Mark series pistols competitive with low-cost imports. That's when High Standard, there was a lawsuit between High Standard and Ruger. High Standard copied his design. Ruger sued and won.
Really high standard copies is on?
Yes, absolutely. Would you shoot a deer with 7.62x39? I would.
I guess so. I don't know.
I would.
I really don't think about deer hunting that much.
Yeah, I guess me neither. Since I successfully killed one with a Pathfinder once. So have you ever seen an original 2245? They're disgusting. They look so bad.
I don't know.
Gross.
That's not what you put the lead dot sight on and send it
that
down
one.
to Cincinnati to get the full
Oh,
bottom half.
yeah.
That's a Mark IV. And yeah,
Yeah.
that gun's cooler than anything 22 Plinkster has, and I'm calling that out right now.
Why are you calling out him?
Because he says he has the coolest one, and he doesn't have a magwell. I have a magwell.
You have a 3D printed magwell.
It's still a magwell. I'm
It's
still
a
cool.
shitty
I don't
magwell.
care if it's made out of plastic.
I could carve you one out of wood and it'd be
All right,
better.
carve me one out of wood.
I will. I'll start.
Okay. I want it.
I'll start.
Anyways,
Please
all right.
keep all your fingers while you cough, because
I use power tools. Don't worry.
This has gone a lot longer than I wanted
I
it
know.
to, but this is the end of the story.
Thank God.
Due to health problems, Ruger was forced into retirement in October of 2000. This bothered Ruger. He was quoted saying that retirement wasn't in his vocabulary and that he had never worked a day in his life. To remember, Ruger was turned down several times by companies that wish they had the legacy Ruger does today. He was rejected, lied to, discounted, broke several times. He lost his first business, lost a business partner, and was almost pushed out of his own company. But regardless of any of that, he never gave up. He continued to learn, continued to try, and continued to believe in himself. And most importantly, continued to follow his dreams. Bill Ruger built a $1 million company on $50,000 and never borrowed a cent to do it. In July of 2002, Bill Ruger passed away in his home in Prescott, Arizona. Ruger had a hand in every firearm that Sturm Ruger Co. produced while he was alive. Some might say even today his influence still shows in the firearms that Ruger currently produces. So the next time you take your Ruger firearm to the range, to the hunt, or strap it to your side, take a second and remember that the man who had a hand in building it probably loved it as much, or maybe more, than you do today. And that's the end. Closing comments. Man, this is a long one.
Wow. There's a lot to know about Bill Ruger. Fun guy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think of Bill?
Cool guy.
Yeah?
He went for it.
He did, and he made it.
I mean, he said he's like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And he went there.
Does it change your favorite Ruger firearm view at all?
No.
Still no? What's your favorite? That Blackhawk?
Favorite? It's still a 686.
That's a Smith.
Oh, honestly, dude. Mark II.
Okay,
The
Mark-
Assassin's gun. That's
Fair
going
enough.
to be legit.
That's cool. How about,
I love my OPR. Like,
yeah.
for all around, it took care of what I needed at the time. It was a great price point, and it's still working well.
Yeah, it's not the 1911 that made it through the washing machine?
Well, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that
but
is.
That's
that
got
is.
a better story.
That's
It
true.
does.
But
All right.
for all around gun, I couldn't have asked for a better gun when I was in the shopping for a 2230 to take out to Montana. I could not have asked for a better gun, and it worked perfectly.
Also,
Yeah.
if you want to shoot up to 1,000 yards, the Ruger American Predator the cheapest way to go.
Yeah, or just I have a 6.5 RPR. I've done 1,200 with it. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today on the Rifle Media Podcast. We look forward to you next time. Make sure, leave us a suggestion on other topics that we can cover. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Chew me out for the investment casting thing. I cannot wait to read some of those comments. Okay. I have to stop it there. Truth be told, I probably had a little bit too much bourbon to drink during that episode. I was kind of slurring my words and maybe combining words in a couple spots. And the outro was like really bad. So I wanted to make sure I did it appropriately. We do have an email that you can contact us at. It's rifledmedia@gmail.com. Send us an email. We want to hear from you. We want your feedback. Maybe leave us a topic, a suggestion for a topic that we can cover. And if it's a good enough email, maybe it's a good bit of information, or you can, mysteriously guess what color underwear I'm wearing right now. I will read it on the podcast. Happy to hear from you. Thank you for making it to the end of this episode. I know it's a long one. We don't ever plan on doing an episode this long again. It's pretty difficult to edit when you're working with almost 2 hours worth of footage, but thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you having your support on the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we can't wait to have you here again next time.